deep RNNs. So far, we have looked after different versions of RNNs, right? So, right from a simple recurrent neural network, then we looked into bidirectional RNN, and then we looked into LSTM, long short-term memory. Okay, and then we have also looked into encoder decoder sequence to sequence model, isn't it? Obviously, they will work well for some context of applications. Okay, so for themselves, that is for the applications which they are intended to work, they will work well, no doubt in that. But in order to learn very complex functions, what we are now trying to do is we are going to stack the multiple layers of RNNs together. So what do? We stack the multiple layers of RNN, and so that we build the deeper versions of these RNN models. If you come to know about deep neural network, I'm not telling about deep recurrent neural network. I'm now talking about deep neural network. So when you remember our discussion on deep neural network, so we used to have an input layer, and then we have three or more hidden layers and then an output layer. So that is what we call it as deep neural network. That is, we have more number of hidden layers. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about the deep recurrent neural network. That is, till now for RNNs, we have taken one single unit and we have unrolled it in time, right? But we did not add any layers, or we did not stack up any layers on top of our RNN. Okay, so add multiple layers of RNNs together, then we call that as deep RNN. Okay, let us now see more details about deep RNNs. If you see, we see the steps here how to build the deeper RNNs. If you remember, for a normal or for a standard neural network, what do we have? We have an input X. Okay, then that input X we will be sending through the input layer, and we have some hidden layers here. If you observe here, these are the hidden layers. This is hidden layer 1, this is hidden layer 2, and this is hidden layer 3. Now we send the input X from this input layer to all the neurons in the hidden layers. That is, the inputs are stacked upon to hidden layers. Now we have, for the first layer, we have activation, let us say A1, which is represented here. For the second layer, now for the second layer, what we have? We have activation A2, which is represented here. And say for the third layer, we have activation A3, which is represented here. Okay. And then what we'll do? We make the prediction, that is y cap at the output layer, which is represented here. Right. So this generally happens in our standard neural network. Right. Now, if you see a simple RNN, if you remember our discussion about simple RNN, so we used to have sequence of inputs x1, x2, so on up to xt at time step t. That is, at time step t1 we have an input x1, at time step t2 we have an input x2, and so on. At time step tx we have an input. At time step tx we have input xtx, right? So what is this a to the power of 0 within the angular brackets? It is the activation at 0th time, or a power 0 can be called as time 0 activation. So for the corresponding input, we have output y cap 1, and for the corresponding input x2, we have an output y cap 2, and for the corresponding input xtx, we have the output y cap ty, right? So this is our architecture or structure of simple RNN. But now, what did we tell about deep RNN? For this simple RNN to be a deep RNN, what we have to do? Now we have to stack up the layers of these RNN units, one on the top of other. So then this becomes a deep RNN. Okay. So if you see here, this is an example of a deep RNN which we have unrolled in this particular time. Till now, for a normal RNN, we represented the activation as A0, right? But now, if you see, the representation here is A in the square brackets 1 and angular bracket 0. The square brackets 1 represent the layer 1, okay? This represents the layer 1 and this is 0th activation. So this complete layer is the layer 1, okay? So this will be our deep RNN. Will it be our deep RNN? Still it is RNN, okay? If we start stacking up the layers on the top of this layer, then we call it as a deep RNN, okay? So like this. The same modules will be repeating. So this we will be calling it as deep RNN. So if you see, instead of writing this as A0, that is for a normal RNN, we have written this activation as A0. So instead of writing this as A0, which is the activation at the time 0, okay, what did we do? We added a square bracket, okay, we added 1 in the square bracket, so which denotes that this activation is for the layer 1, that is 0th activation in the layer 1. So what will be our general notation? A power LT, that is L specified in the square brackets, T specified in the angular bracket. So L means it denotes that the activation which is associated with the layer L. And what does T denote? It denotes that it is associated over time T. That is activation at layer 1 associated with time. Okay. So this is the meaning of this. So now if you see, this is A10, that is at time 0, activation at layer 1. Now what this will be A11, that is at time 1, activation at layer 1. Next at time T2, at time T3, T4 and so on. So for 4 time steps we have taken this example. Okay. So you hope you understand what the representation 0, A power 1, 1, A power 1, 2. Here A power 1 in square brackets represent the layer. Okay. And in the angular bracket, it represents the time step. Okay. Now, so as I already told, deep RNNs will be, that is, we are going to stack these layers on top of the other. So here we have formed a new network with 3 hidden layers. If you see, this is the first layer, hidden layer, this is the second layer, and this is the third layer. If you see, this is A10, A20, A30. That is activation at layer 1 at time 0, at time 0, activation at layer 3 at time 0. Now this is activation at layer 1 at time 1, activation at layer 2 at time 1, activation at layer 3 at time 1. If you see, we got the output at time 1. This is output at time 2, at time 3, and at time 4. Okay. Now, if you see, let us suppose we wanted to compute the value of A23. Where is A23? Here is our A23. What is A23? Activation of second layer, and that too at time 3. So, from where it is getting the inputs? If you observe, from here it is getting the input, and from here it is getting the input. That is, A23 is given by a function G applied on the weight matrix of this second layer, this one, and with respect to what? A22. What is the A22? This one, A22, this input, okay, and A13, which is this input, okay, plus the bias value. So this is how we calculate the value of A23. Next, so if you see, so like this, these weights and biases are used for every one of these computations. Okay. If you see, for this A11, we use WA1, BA1. For A12, WA1, BA1. So all the time for this layer, we use WA1 and BA1. That is the respect to weights and bias. For the second layer, WA2 and BA2. For the third layer, WA3 and BA3. And finally, we are going to take the output Y1, Y2, Y3, and y for and so on. Okay. Now, so if you observe for a standard neural network, which we have discussed in our previous classes, we saw hundreds of hidden layers can be inserted, right? So we can add hundreds of hidden layers. Okay, but for RNN, that is for recurrent neural network, having these 3 layers is quite a lot. So why it is having 3 layers is quite a lot. So you may ask me, sir, actually for a deep neural, for a deep neural network, that is simple, deep standard neural network, we are having more number of layers. But why, if we add more number of layers to this recurrent neural network, what's the problem? Because of the temporal dimension, isn't it? The RNNs work based upon the temporal dimension. Okay, so because we are unrolling each and every unit in the time, so these networks will already get big. So if we are unrolling them in the temporal dimension, right? So having small number of layers also accounts to be the large complexity. So that is the reason most frequently we have 2 layers or 3 layers for this deep RNNs. Okay. So these blocks will be having simple RNN models. Okay. So if you see here, this is one unit or one block, this is another block. Okay. This is another block and this is another block. Okay. These need not be always the simple RNN or a standard RNN. They can also be either GRE blocks or LSTM blocks. Okay. So these recurrent neural networks, the blocks which we are using, the units which we are using can be either LSTM or GRE also. They need not be always the simple RNNs. Okay. So finally, what I wanted to do is, what I wanted to conclude is, we can also build deeper versions, or we can also improve this efficiency of this deep RNN by using the bidirectional RNNs also. So I hope you know the difference between what is a standard RNN and what is a bidirectional RNN. So you can also include the functionality of bidirectional RNN to make the performance of this particular deep RNN more efficient. Okay. So the last thing I wanted to say and conclude is, as already discussed, we do not see or we won't see the deep recurrent layers, that is more number of deep recurrent layers when compared to a conventional neural network. Okay. Why? Because of the temporal dimension. Okay. So this is all about the deep recurrent neural network.